You ever wake up after what should have been a full night's sleep and still feel drained by lunchtime? Or maybe you find yourself dozing off in the middle of the afternoon, even though you've done everything right. The lights are on, your to-do list is long, but your body just wants to shut down. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we get older, sleep becomes a puzzle with missing pieces. You go to bed earlier, maybe even stay in bed longer, but the quality just isn't there. You might wake up multiple times a night, toss and turn, or open your eyes at 3 a.m. and never quite make it back to deep rest. And then, as the day wears on, your body begs for a break, not just rest, but renewal. Now here's the twist. What if the fatigue you're feeling isn't just about poor sleep, but something else entirely? Something invisible, something that sits just inches from your face every single day. It doesn't buzz or blink, but it could be interfering with your body's natural rhythm, stealing energy bit by bit without you even knowing it. And no, this isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a real, measurable force that's present in every modern home. Something backed by studies, something we'll dive into today. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why that afternoon crash keeps happening, but you'll have a solution, a simple one. No supplements, no gimmicks, just a small shift in how you rest. Because as we age, rest isn't optional, it's essential. And knowing when and how to recharge might just give you the energy you've been missing for years. So if you're ready to feel sharper, calmer, and more like yourself again, let's get into it. Let's talk about something we all start to notice as we get older. Sleep just doesn't come the way it used to. Remember when you were younger and you could fall asleep the second your head hit the pillow? Sleep was easy then, deep, uninterrupted, and you'd wake up feeling ready to go. But now, things are different. You may go to bed at 9:30 but wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. with your mind wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Maybe it's the aching hips, maybe it's a dry mouth, or sometimes it's nothing at all. You just wake up, and getting back to sleep, that can feel like a battle. This isn't your imagination. On average, older adults sleep about 2 hours less than they did in their younger years. And it's not just about duration, it's about depth. As we age, we spend less time in the deep, restorative stages of sleep, the kind your brain and body really need to heal, to recharge, to function. So what happens when we lose that depth? You might notice it in small ways at first. Your patience gets shorter, your memory feels fuzzier, and even your appetite starts acting strange. You feel tired but wired, and over time it builds. That slight fatigue turns into full-blown exhaustion by mid-morning. And here's the tricky part. Many people chalk it up to just getting older. But what if it's not just age? What if it's a signal? A signal that your body isn't recovering the way it should, that it needs a little more help. Not necessarily with pills or prescriptions, but with timed intentional rest. Because instead of pushing through the day and crashing by evening, what if you gave yourself permission to recharge in the middle of the day? Not laziness, not indulgence, but a smart biological reset, something that helps make up for the rest your brain missed during the night. And here's where it gets interesting. Your body is asking for that, not with words, but with heavy eyelids, with that 2 p.m. fog, with that moment where you sit still and suddenly feel sleep washing over you like a wave. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Your body knows what it needs. The question is, are you listening? Now let's pull back the curtain on something that very few people are talking about, something that might be silently draining your energy day after day. It's not stress. It's not age. It's not even your sleep habits. It's electromagnetic fields, EMFs. I know, it sounds a little technical, but stick with me. because this might explain why you're feeling tired even after what feels like a full night's rest, or why your nap leaves you groggy instead of refreshed, or why your heart sometimes races when you're sitting perfectly still in front of your computer. You see, in today's world, we're constantly surrounded by invisible energy fields. Your computer, your Wi-Fi router, your wireless mouse, your Bluetooth keyboard, even the power cords tucked under your desk, all emit EMFs. They may not buzz, blink, or make noise, but they are radiating low-level electrical and magnetic energy into your space all day, every day. Now, here's the kicker. Your body is also electric. Your brain communicates through electrical signals. Your heart relies on electrical rhythms to keep beating in sync. Your muscles contract and relax through tiny impulses. So when you're sitting for hours in an environment saturated with artificial EMFs, what do you think happens? That outside energy begins to interact with your body's own internal signals. And for some people, especially those of us more sensitive with age, it can wreak havoc. You might feel it as brain fog, a kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. Or maybe you feel wired but exhausted. Some people report headaches, restlessness, or even heart palpitations. And still others don't feel anything right away. But over time, the drain becomes undeniable. Let me give you a real-world example. A viewer recently commented that they've been living in a tiny 200 square foot studio for over a decade. Their bed sits right next to their computer. There's no other place to move it. For years, they've struggled with sleep, feeling exhausted even after naps. And for them, it wasn't until they turned off the Wi-Fi at night and switched to wired internet that they finally felt a change. Not dramatic, but meaningful. There's also growing science behind this. In a 2024 study, participants exposed to radio frequency EMFs from common devices, like baby monitors, reported lower quality of sleep compared to nights with no exposure, and EEG readings confirmed it. Their brains were more active during what should have been deep sleep. That's a problem, because deep sleep is where healing happens. It's when your brain clears out waste, resets your mood, and consolidates memory. Even more compelling, another study used special beds that blocked or drained EMF exposure. After just 2 months, those participants had higher levels of melatonin and serotonin, the hormones that help you sleep and feel good, and lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. Imagine that. Simply reducing EMF exposure while sleeping improved hormone balance and sleep quality. Now let's be honest. We're not going to live in the woods, away from every signal and screen. That's not realistic. But small changes can make a big difference. You can turn off your Wi-Fi router at night, use an Ethernet cable instead of relying on wireless, move your phone a few feet away when you sleep, or, better yet, put it on airplane mode. And if your computer is under your desk while you work, consider shifting it farther away or shielding the area with simple materials that reduce EMF exposure. Why does this matter? Because if your environment is constantly working against your energy, no amount of naps or nighttime sleep will fully restore you. You'll always feel like you're catching up, dragging through the day. But when you minimize those invisible stressors, when you give your nervous system space to settle, you create the conditions for true rest. And if you've been struggling with fatigue that doesn't make sense, or if you nap and still feel sluggish, don't just look at your habits. Look at your surroundings. Your body might not be broken. It might just be overwhelmed. And that's something you can change. So now that we've talked about what's draining your energy, let's talk about how to get it back. And no, I'm not talking about another cup of coffee or pushing through until bedtime. I'm talking about naps. Yes, naps. The kind your body's begging for. The kind your brain actually needs. And the kind that, when done right, can change how the rest of your day and even your life feels. Let's be real. In our culture, napping often gets a bad rap. It's seen as lazy, indulgent, or something only kids and retirees do. But here's what the science says, and it's time we listen. In a recent study involving over 2,900 adults aged 45 and older, researchers found that those who slept 6 to 8 hours at night and took a nap of about 30 to 90 minutes during the day had better cognitive function than those who didn't nap at all, or who napped too long. Their memory was sharper, their reaction time faster, and their thinking more flexible. In short, their brains were performing better. And here's the thing. It wasn't just about sleep quantity, it was about rhythm, about giving the body and brain a midday reset. Think of it like rebooting your computer when it's lagging. A short nap can do that for your brain. Another study out of Saudi Arabia backed this up. In adults around the age of 66, researchers found that those who napped more than 90 minutes had lower cognitive scores than those who either didn't nap or who napped moderately. So it's not just about taking a nap, it's about finding your nap sweet spot. Too short, and you might not feel the benefit. Too long, and you risk feeling groggy or disrupting your nighttime sleep. But when it's just right, somewhere between 20 to 60 minutes, you're giving your body time to enter the early stages of sleep where the magic starts. That's when memory starts to consolidate, stress hormones start to drop, and your brain gets a chance to clean house, literally flushing out waste products that build up during the day. And it's not just about mental performance. Napping has been linked to better mood, lower anxiety, improved learning, and even greater physical endurance. Yes, you'll be more likely to finish that walk around the neighborhood or have energy for a full workout if you've had a midday recharge. There's even research showing that people who nap regularly have fewer accidents, especially in high-focus jobs or when driving. Why? Because fatigue is one of the biggest causes of human error. A 20-minute nap can be the difference between clear thinking and a costly mistake. Now let's talk about some of your real-life stories. One viewer shared that after years of broken sleep and early waking, they started taking a nap around 2 p.m. for just 15 to 30 minutes, and they described it as miraculous. Suddenly, they could stay up later without feeling wiped out. Their energy stayed steady through the evening. Another said they used to rely on coffee all day, which left them jittery and wrecked their nighttime sleep. But after quitting coffee and adding two short naps, a morning one and an afternoon one, they felt more alert and focused than they had in years. So the science is clear, the stories are real, and the question becomes, why are we still pushing through the afternoon slump, suffering in silence? Instead of reaching for sugar, caffeine, or just suffering through the fog, why not give yourself permission to rest? Just a little, not an hour and a half, not a whole afternoon, just enough to restore. Because when done wisely, naps aren't a sign of weakness. They're a strategy for longevity. They're the body's way of saying, hey, I'm doing my best. Can you meet me halfway? And when you do, the results can feel like turning back the clock. By now you might be thinking, okay, I'm convinced. A nap sounds good, but how do I actually do it right? Because let's be honest, napping isn't always as simple as just closing your eyes. If you've ever taken a nap and woken up feeling groggy, foggy, or even worse than before, you know exactly what I mean. So let's walk through how to nap the right way, especially if you're over 60 and looking to make the most of every minute of rest. First, timing is everything. The best time to take a nap is usually between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Why? Because this is when your natural energy dips. It's built into your body's circadian rhythm. You'll notice this especially after lunch. Your body's temperature drops slightly, your alertness decreases, and your brain starts craving rest. But nap too late in the day, say after 4 or 5 p.m., and you might find yourself staring at the ceiling at bedtime, unable to fall asleep. Second, keep it short and sweet. If you're just starting, aim for 20 to 30 minutes. This gives your brain enough time to rest without dropping into the deeper stages of sleep, which can be harder to wake from. If you have more experience napping, or if your sleep debt is high, you can stretch that to 45 or even 60 minutes. But be careful. Anything beyond 90 minutes, and you risk waking up in the middle of deep sleep, which can leave you feeling disoriented. Remember, the goal isn't to replace nighttime sleep. It's to recharge. Think of it like topping off your energy tank, not filling it from empty. Third, set the scene. Your nap environment matters more than you think. Aim for a space that's quiet, dim, and cool. Use an eye mask if needed, a small blanket if you tend to get chilly. And if you can't lie down, reclining in a chair works just fine. In fact, some people find that napping upright helps them avoid falling too deeply asleep. Now here's a trick from a viewer that you might love. She said her grandmother used to nap in a chair, holding her keys in her hand. The moment her body fully relaxed, the keys would drop, and that gentle sound would wake her up naturally, right at the sweet spot before sleep turned too deep. That's wisdom passed down through generations. Fourth, unplug the noise, literally. We talked about EMFs earlier, so if you're planning to nap near electronics, your phone, your laptop, your tablet, turn off the Wi-Fi or switch your devices to airplane mode. Move them a few feet away if you can. It may seem small, but reducing that invisible buzz gives your nervous system a cleaner space to rest. Some viewers even reported better naps just by unplugging the power strip under their desks. Finally, make it a habit, not a fluke. Napping works best when it becomes part of your routine. That doesn't mean every day has to include a nap. But when you listen to your body and nap consistently, even just 3 times a week, your brain starts to expect it, and your energy stays more stable throughout the day. And if you're worried that a nap will throw off your schedule, remember this: a 20-minute nap that gives you 3 more hours of clarity and calm is not a waste, it's an investment. So instead of dragging through the afternoon, wishing you could close your eyes, why not give yourself permission to do just that? Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Now that you know the power of a good nap and how to do it right, I want to invite you to try something. Let's not just talk about napping. Let's actually take one, right here, right now. If you're at home, in a safe space, and you've got a few minutes to yourself, go ahead and settle in. Find a comfortable chair. Dim the lights if you can. Turn off any loud notifications and just let go. You don't need to fall asleep completely. Even just resting your eyes and breathing slowly can trigger the relaxation response in your body. Let your thoughts drift. Don't try to nap hard. Just give yourself permission to pause. I'll even leave a soft tapping sound, like I did at the end of a previous video, for those of you who enjoy that kind of gentle rhythm. Something simple, something calm, something that tells your brain, it's safe to rest now. Because the truth is, you've earned it. You've spent decades taking care of others, pushing through fatigue, showing up no matter how tired you were. But now it's your turn to rest, to heal, to recharge in a way that feels kind. And if this video has helped you, even in a small way, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know. How many hours of sleep do you usually get each night? And what's stopping you from trying a short nap today? Let's bring back the nap, not as a luxury, but as a smart, healthy choice for a sharper mind and a calmer body. I'll be here when you wake up.